Hey guys, it's Deborah. I'm in my backyard with my kids, so there may be noise and distraction, and we will see how this goes. But I just wanted to quickly talk to you guys about the annexation because we were watching July 1st, knowing that that was the day that was supposed to happen, and also there was a lot of reopening of many different countries and stuff like that. So it seemed to coincide together that a lot of was happening on July 1st. So I just want to read this article with you real quick. It says, many will take credit, but this is the real reason Netanyahu delayed his annexation plan. To avoid his biggest nightmare, the Israeli prime minister has to show some restraint. Benjamin Netanyahu may be Litvak, but 17 months ago, facing a deadlock election, he followed the advice of Hasidic rabbi. In the old story, he brought in a goat. Interesting, goat. Like God of all times, God of all things. You know the story. The Hasid goes to his rabbi to complain about his living conditions in a tiny... Okay, so we're not even going to read all that because, yeah, it's okay. So we're talking about the annexation now. Since he first brought it up in Channel 12 interview on the eve of the first of the 3 consecutive elections, annexation has been Netanyahu's goat. It has been and continues... Oh, there goes my air conditioner's turning on. I'm outside in the backyard. Sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Let me just walk somewhere else. Continues to be an excellent diversion for the Israeli electorate, whatever, from the prime minister's corruption and increasingly autocratic ways, and now from his failure to adequately plan an exit strategy from coronavirus lockdown, leading to an escalating second wave of the pandemic and no clear path out of the economic crisis. Annexation has served him on the international stage as well for decades. The so-called international community has been pressuring Israel to various degrees to end the occupation, pull back from the territories, dismantle settlements, and allow the establishment of a Palestinian state. Since annexation became an issue, sorry, I just have to go somewhere else. Where am I? The disclosure has shifted to a much more comfortable place for Netanyahu. Just get rid of this goat. We can live with the occupation. Wow, I keep using that word. So now July has come, and with it the arbitrary date set in the Likud Kahol Levan coalition agreement, from which Benjamin Netanyahu can bring the issue of annexation to the cabinet or Knesset. The fact that as of press time nothing has yet happened on that front means little. It should have been clear from the onset that Netanyahu would have great trouble fulfilling his election promises from the 3 consecutive campaigns. Even the inclusion of annexation of 30% of the West Bank in Donald Trump's deal of the century didn't make it easier for him, as there would always have to be another side to the deal, one that Netanyahu could not force his right-wing base to swallow. Netanyahu and his proxies will continue to claim that July 1st was never supposed to be the annexation date, which I showed you article after article, and he said, we're not going to go past that date. So, people like to say things, and that's why you can't trust 100% man's word at all, especially those who do not, who aren't believers in just Jesus Christ. So, just the beginning of the period in which the issue can be formally considered. Technically, they are not wrong, but the hype around the date had created a dynamic of its own. How much of this was planned? Netanyahu certainly hasn't planned the annexation. There is no map, no timetable, no drafts of legal documents to be brought to the cabinet or Knesset. Hold on one second. My daughter needs something. I have no idea why I even sometimes try to make videos, because I honestly feel like I don't even have a minute. But anyway, I'm trying here. Okay, where was I? I have no idea. No drafts of legal documents to be brought to the cabinet or Knesset. All this reinforces the impression that annexation, at least for a significant part of the last 17 months, has been no more than a vague election promise to rally the right-wing base. But many who have spoken with Netanyahu in recent months have come away with the impression that at some point, at least, he managed to suborn Benny Gantz into serving in his government and secured his new term as prime minister. He fell in love with the idea. Annexation, or as he calls it, applying Israel's sovereignty, expanding Israel's borders so that they include at least part of the biblical homeland, would be a historic legacy. almost done. That period doesn't seem to have lasted very long. Netanyahu's enthusiasm for annexation is now waning. He won't publicly ditch it, of course. That would damage his credibility with the right, and besides, the goat is still a useful diversion. But the chances of any significant annexation or even small symbolic one ever happening now are diminishing by the day. Many will try to take credit for this is part's interesting, for successfully pressuring Netanyahu to desist. Benny Gantz, who finally rediscovered, okay, we're going to skip that, this week when he said in interviews that July 1st isn't a sacred date and that 1 million unemployed Israelis laid off because of coronavirus couldn't care less about annexation, will be all manner of tiny left-wing organizations and think tanks will be patting themselves on the back, as will British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, whose last-minute plea was published on the front page of Yedioth Ahronoth's July 1st edition. They all had very little influence on the matter, if any. The one person who has most influenced Netanyahu in holding back on annexation is the 77-year-old man currently sheltering from the pandemic in his home in Washington, Delaware. Joe Biden is the main reason Netanyahu is not annexing. Okay. Who wrote this article again? Is this breaking news? The Haaretz. Okay, so let's see why they say that. Here it is. The one person. Oh yeah, we got that right. There are few politicians who have keener understanding of polls than Netanyahu. He has several pollsters on his official and unofficial payroll and keeps in touch with others. His polling brain trust is heavily American, and though they have misled at least once in the past when he thought that Matt Romney had a chance of denying Barack Obama's second term in 2012, he's fully aware now that Trump's chance of winning in November are vanishing. Until very recently, Netanyahu was convinced not only of his own invincibility, but that of his orange-faced friend. This is so rude. Oh my gosh. Well, clearly this is extremely one-sided. Wow. As well, but as Joe Biden has opened up a convincing lead in recent weeks, that belief has evaporated. Netanyahu has seen how all his allies in the administration, with the exception of Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, are now distracted by trying to shore up a losing campaign. Not only is he not about to get the kind of unequivocal backing he wanted for annexation, but he has to contend with the growing realization that to go ahead would put him at loggerheads with the prospective new Biden administration from day one. Biden has let it be known in his own voice and through proxies that he is emphatically opposed to annexation. At the same time, however, he has resisted pressure from the left wing of the Democratic Party to go hard on Israel in other matters, and even hinted that should he be elected, he would not reverse Trump's decision to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. So they'll keep that. Netanyahu's biggest fear is that the new administration would restore the United States' commitment to the nuclear deal with Iran, Obama's cornerstone foreign policy. He is hoping to at least get a chance to argue his case with the new president for continued sanctions. They're calling him the new president? And a tougher American negotiation stance. Denying annexation gives him an opening with President Biden if the polling gap between Trump and Biden continues to widen. The prospect of annexation will grow more and more distant. Okay, so this is so one-sided. I'm going to read one other quick article, and then I'll talk for a minute. Okay, so I was looking for a certain article that I found, and it was like comments from Trump after the day passed, and I can't find it, so we'll just read this quickly. The New York Times, Netanyahu's annexation day arrives, but all that emerges is delay. Okay, so I guess we will read some of this. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's push to annex territory in the occupied West Bank entered a critical window on Wednesday, but with his government divided, the White House indecisive, and domestic opposition mounting, his allies said that the formal announcement could be weeks or even months away. International opposition is gaining steam too. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson added his name to the list of foreign leaders denouncing annexation, warning in a front page opt in the newspaper that it would be contrary to Israel's own long-term interests, and that his country would not recognize any such unilateral move. Mr. Netanyahu, seeking to cement his legacy, ran for a re-election on a promise to impose Israel's sovereignty on as much as 30% of the West Bank land. The Palestinians have long sought for a future state. His coalition agreement with Benny Gantz, the centrist former army chief who nearly defeated him, allowed him to proceed with the annexation no sooner than July 1st. But that date came and went Wednesday without any clarification from Mr. Netanyahu about what he intends to annex. The scenarios that continue to be floated in the Israeli news media only raise new questions. The latest, described as a counter-proposal by Mr. Netanyahu to the Trump administration's original conceptual map for possible annexation, showed Jewish enclaves deep in Palestinian designated territory, growing presumably to appease right-wing settlers who objected to being marooned inside a potential Palestinian state. But it was also called for compensating the Palestinians by handing them some of the hills overlooking Ben Gurion International Airport, which is Israeli hawks had once considered too strategically vital to give away. Other options mentioned include annexing a small, purely symbolic area, taking the entire 30%, or doing it in phases. The confusion appears to be hampering the government too. A National Security Council officer told Israeli, okay, I'm just going to see if we can get to where it talks about Trump. But no, I don't think, here. But the window for unilateral annexation could close in November if Mr. Trump is defeated. Israel would need American support, and former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr. has said he opposes such a move. At the moment, though, the political obstacles to follow through on annexation are formidable. Some right-wing settlers are in revolt at the Trump peace plan's contemplation of a Palestinian state of any kind on the West Bank. The White House sent emissaries to Jerusalem this week for a round of meetings on annexation that were described as inconclusive. The Trump administration has insisted that Mr. Netanyahu gain the agreement of Mr. Gantz, wanting to avoid having the former military leader accuse Mr. Trump of putting Israel's lives in danger while he is battling for re-election. That condition may be one reason for the delay. Mr. Gantz, who is now the defense minister, has opposed unilateral annexation. Okay. I was really hoping to find the thing I found that Trump was saying, but he's kind of quiet right now. I don't think there's too much more. For 14 months, the Prime Minister shouts and talks about applying sovereignty. Mr. Lieberman said Wednesday, what turns out is that the whole move is not a move to apply sovereignty, but a public relations move, simply electoral theft, nothing else. Nothing else. Okay, let me end there. So, sorry, I don't really have any more time. I better just wrap this up. Basically, the end result is confusing. I am not sure why the Democratic Party wouldn't want the annexation and the dividing. It does say that in the Bible, like I had done a whole video on it, I think it's in Daniel, that says, 11, that says the king of the north, which is like symbolically the Antichrist, will divide the land for gain. So that's something he's going to do. So I'm confused why Biden is so against it. I'm not calling him the Antichrist. I'm saying like the spirit of it. So that part's confusing. And, there's two views on this whole Trump situation. Is he just a part of it and they're all in on it together? And really, in the end, this is just a ploy to confuse everybody and make Christians look bad or whatever? Or is it that they're really not on the same side and that basically the Democrats really don't want, I hope I'm saying that right, Democrats, Republicans, like in Canada, it's conservatives and liberals. Oh, my phone is ringing. Honestly, guys, I cannot even talk for more than, I literally feel like 3 minutes without getting interrupted. Like, I can't even finish a sentence half the time. It's a bit exaggerative, but it's just, this is why I'm struggling. Like, even this that I'm doing, I just want to update you guys because, and I saw the articles and I'm like, I better update you guys because we talked about July 1st. But I literally, every time I go to try to talk about anything, it just feels like there's no point because there's just no time for me to talk to you guys. Like, I'm just that frustrated right now. I'm just super frustrated. I have had to delete this video that I've made so many times because literally it's just me dealing with everybody, and every 5 seconds I'm literally just stopping the video, and I don't have time to edit it, and I have to because people are literally screaming in the background or something else, and I'm really frustrated right now. I feel so frustrated. I'm just frustrated. Sorry, I'm just venting, guys, because I want you to realize that I would, there's something I want to talk to you guys. There's at least two big things I want to talk to you about, and I have no clue how to put that together. I honestly, I can't even fathom in my head how it would have time to do so. At the beginning of this whole pandemic, it was like, yeah, I found ways here and there, but it was a struggle. It was either me staying up super late or some other crazy way. But as time's going on, I can't keep burning myself out like that. So it's just so weird because I feel like the Lord's telling me all these things. And then every time I try to do something, clearly I need to be praying ahead of time and stuff like that. But it's just starting to really irritate me and anger me. And yes, your prayers are welcome, because honestly, like, I don't like stopping and starting every 5 minutes. Every time I have to like get a thought out, and then I can't remember what I was saying. As it is, I have no idea what I was saying before. Like, I don't know. So I guess I'll just basically I'll end it with that. I don't really understand why the conservative, no, that's Canadian. Sorry guys. I don't understand why because I've also been up since 5 a.m. with one of my twins. So it's like, I'm sitting here trying to like make my brain work. But yeah, I don't understand why it's not the conservatives, it's the Democrats. That's right. I don't know why they would not want the division of land, the annexation and all that stuff, when that's what I thought they would want. So that's confusing to me. Unless it's just they don't want Trump to be the one to succeed. They don't want him to bring forth the plan. They want to bring forth the plan. Like, it could be that, because that makes the most sense. It seems that they don't want him to bring forth the plan for him to succeed. This is my next video that I'm trying to get out, because it's with regards to timing, because people are like, well, are we going to even see these November elections? And I don't like to really focus on the United States so much. I know a lot of my audience is from there, but Israel is the timepiece. And, you know, like, it feels like, but okay, I don't want it to seem like the world revolves around a certain country or something like that. I think it's just, sorry, my AC just turned on. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I'm outside trying to avoid the kids for this 5 minutes, and I was sitting near the air conditioner and it's really loud. Anyway, what did I say? Every time I try to do something. Anyway, so basically the States is just like the leader of the free world. So everything is connected. These two are so connected right now. You know, that's why people are like, some people don't believe it's Babylon. Some people don't believe, you know, the Antichrist could come from there and all this kind of stuff. But you can see the connection. Like, these two countries are the ones we're watching. Yes, we're looking at, you know, Gog and Magog, the bear, Russia, the Middle East and all this different stuff. But these two men are really connected, Trump and Netanyahu. And the way I looked at it is, I really never thought either of those men would ever come out of office unless the next person stepping into it is the leader of the New World Order, which is the Antichrist. So the leader of the one world government. So something has to happen soon, because Benny Gantz is going to take over in 18 months. And Trump, you know, that article was already saying that he's going to lose and it's going to be Biden. But that article was so rude and so one-sided. I didn't realize it was like that. The first one I read you. So basically, can't trust that at all. In fact, I'd like believe the opposite. But the first time Trump won, he wasn't supposed to win, and he won against all odds. It's God's will. Like, it doesn't even matter if you guys think he's the Antichrist or whatever you may think about him. It's God's will that he's in power, because every leader is put in power by God. So even the Antichrist, and Judas was even given a spot as a disciple. So you know, he does it for a reason. Nebuchadnezzar was super evil, but he was put into power for a reason. You know, King Saul was trying to kill David, but David respected that he was the Lord's choice, or that he was chosen to be king. David respected that, and he was trying to be killed by the guy. So we have to respect it, but that doesn't mean, you know, you worship it or think it's something more than it is. It's just you respect, because the decision was of the Lord's. He put it in. And this Trump and Pence thing, come on. Trumpets, that's a thing. That's for sure not a mistake. And I don't see how the enemy would want to do that and make those two names come into play. I just don't see that. It seems like that's of the Lord. So, and I mean that as in, just like Nebuchadnezzar was of the Lord, just like King Saul was of the Lord. Of the Lord meaning like from him, or it was his decision to put him into place. And there's verses on that. So, wow, I've been able to talk for more than 5 minutes all of a sudden. That's pretty good. So anyway, I guess the end result is, if you want to comment below any thoughts you have, why you think it was delayed, or why you think the Democrats are opposed to the annexation, because to me, I would think it makes a lot of sense. Is it just because they don't want Trump to do it? Is that what it is? And then again, in November, like if we're gonna still be here till November, then yeah, I guess, who's going to win? I mean, like I said, I know. I shouldn't say I know. Like, in my spirit, it feels like no one else is going to come into play. Like, if anyone won other than Trump or Netanyahu had to hand it over to Gantz, like, I couldn't see, because in the spirit, it doesn't feel that. Just like the Malachi prophecies with the Pope. Like, this is it. These are all the last guys. These are the last guys. Okay, there's 3 last guys. And then the final guy. Trump, Netanyahu, and the Pope. These are all the last. That's how I feel. So, but this other video is on 2020 and 2021 and where we are timing-wise. And that's but that's the kind of thing where I have to get research and put together clips and things like that. This is just me talking, and also it's just me reading articles and stuff. But I did want to share that with you because the day has passed. I think what happened was it wasn't the big day of dividing and then destruction. It was kind of like a birth pain of, yeah, we're about to do it. No, we're stepping back. It's kind of like more like Braxton Hicks contractions where, it's coming, then it's going, it's coming, then it's going. It's like kind of it's like a tempting. I don't know if that word, what I'm trying to think of, but basically just, just giving you a little taste of something and then taking it away. So I guess it could happen soon. I don't know if it's going to happen now, because it sounded like Netanyahu was just saying all this to try to get on everybody's good side. And now that he thinks Trump's not going to win, like, both of them throw each other under the bus like no tomorrow. When Netanyahu was losing, Trump was like, oh, I don't know what's happening over there. And he was not talking to Netanyahu. And now that Trump looks like, he's not winning and Biden might be, now all of a sudden Netanyahu's stalling on things. And it's so funny how, I mean, it really is just politics. And that verse, let the dead bury the dead. Like, they're going to do what they're going to do on this earth, and they're doing it for worldly reasons. And we have to look at it from the spiritual side. So we were trying to watch, because we knew that could bring destruction, and it still could happen within the month. But now they're saying it could take months. It could just be that this deal is just always dead in the water. It's always just kind of like a precursor. And then the Antichrist comes and strengthens it. It's always just sitting around on the cusp. It's always just like about to happen, and it's kind of like I said, tempting. Like, that's not the word I'm trying to think of. I'll think of it after, I'm sure, but it's just kind of like dangling a carrot. Like, it's there. But we know the word says that the Antichrist will confirm. It has to be already existing covenant and make it stronger. So this is always going to be weak. These deals always are going to be weak. And sorry, now I'm being chased by a bee. Okay, so that's all I have to say for that, because now I'm done. I don't want to be chased by a bee. It's like a wasp. So, yeah, I guess the end result is, if you have anything or any thoughts, put them in the comments below why the Democrats would not want to divide the land. And I guess, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just, I guess, if you keep me in your prayers to get this video out. I mean, I just want to, explain my thoughts on the timing. And not just thoughts. I don't like to say when it's like thoughts and feelings. It's through the spiritual discernment. So again, looks like there's this delay, and we don't know when it's going to happen again. But it's this dangling carrot, and we know who's going to confirm it. And I already said I think 3 people are not going to, like, these 3 men that I just spoke of, are going to be the last leading these things. One leading the Pope leading the Catholic Church. That's going to be the last leader. And then Netanyahu being the last leader of Israel. And then Trump being the last leader of the free world. So it's kind of like perfect for the New World Order, because, one world, there's the currency, there's the one world religion, and then there's the one world government. And I feel like the currency side of things would represent Trump, because he's like, it's all about money, and that's like the leader in that respect. And then the government, it's going to be, they're going to be leading from Israel. So like the Antichrist, that's why you don't need Israel anymore that way. You don't need the U.S. anymore, because you don't need that currency, that leader that way. You don't need Israel anymore, because now you're going to have the one world government. It's going to lead from 70 nations from Israel, with the Antichrist at the top, and then the one world religion. You don't want Catholicism anymore leading the world, or any other Muslims, Hindu, Buddhists, and of course Christians will be gone. So you don't, like, as in the church, and then they'll be the left behind Christians, the tribulation saints. But the point is, it's kind of a neat package. Fits that 3 people will leave, and that 3 systems will begin. They'll take over. So I think these are the last 3 people. I should just do a video on that alone, because that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's how I'll leave it at that. Time is ticking. Things are changing. It's just not exactly how we thought, and it's hard because it's dangling carrots. There's these dangling carrots. So I guess, we will talk again soon. I'm going to just try my best to get this stuff out and just stay calm and grateful and thankful, because I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for, the things I have is just, and my husband's help and all that stuff. It's just, I used to have more help with the kids. I homeschooled, but I had help with my little ones, and I don't have that anymore with their therapy. So that's starting back up in July. So I think I'll be able to talk to you guys a lot more. Hopefully it's starting up in July. They said it is. And so July 6th. So that will give me a little bit more free time. Anyway, sorry for that rant. So I will talk to you guys again soon. And I hope you're having a blessed day, a safe day. Anyway, I hope today is a good day for you guys. So until next time, I'll talk to you again soon. God bless and shalom.